Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to crack open the engine of modern entertainment. We're taking a deep technical dive into the wildly complex architecture that powers the streaming services we all use, and it's all based on an incredible report from Virtualization Options LLC. All right, let's get into it.
So, just so you know, this is part 14 of a much larger series. We're zooming right into Chapter 14 of the report to unpack the core architecture, the foundational tech that honestly every IT professional in this space really needs to get a handle on. And wow, this quote from the report just nails it, doesn't it? We're not talking about your run-of-the-mill website here. We are talking about massive, global systems that have to work perfectly for millions of people all at the exact same time. It's a truly monumental engineering challenge.
So just how big is that challenge, really? Let's try to put some numbers on it to quantify the sheer scale that streaming engineers are up against every single day. And I'm telling you, these numbers are absolutely mind-boggling.
First up, let's talk about the data itself. The big platforms aren't just storing terabytes of video, they are managing petabytes. Just try to imagine every movie, every TV show, in every resolution, with every language option. It is a colossal library that has to be kept perfectly safe, but also ready to be accessed in an instant. Okay, so you've got all that data. Now, how in the world do you deliver it? When a new hit show drops, the system has to be ready to push out terabits of data per second. That's a staggering amount of traffic flowing to millions of viewers at once, and it has to be done without a single hiccup. And finally, there's our expectation, right? The user's expectation of performance. When you hit that play button, you expect the video to start, well, now, in less than a second. That kind of responsiveness isn't a nice-to-have feature. It's the absolute baseline standard, and it puts this relentless pressure on every single link in the chain.
So how do you even begin to build a system that can handle all of that? Well, you start at the very beginning with a piece of the puzzle called the origin. This is the absolute single source of truth. You can think of it as the heart of the entire content library.
The origin server is pretty much what it sounds like. It's the vault, where the pristine, master copies of every single video file are stored. Before anyone, anywhere, can watch anything, that content has to exist right here, perfectly safe and sound. The entire streaming pipeline, everything from encoding to delivery, it all starts here.
Now, what's really fascinating is how the entire industry has basically standardized on using cloud object storage for the origin. And why? Well, because it solves all the biggest headaches. You get practically unlimited scaling, so you never have to worry about running out of room. You get this thing called 11 nines of durability, which is just a wild number that means your data is so safe it's almost impossible to lose. And the pay-per-use model means you don't have to guess how much storage you'll need next year. It's a total game changer.
Okay, so we've got our master files tucked away safely in the origin. But here's the problem. The origin can't possibly serve millions of people directly. It would just fall over instantly. And that is where the next critical piece of the puzzle comes in, the Content Delivery Network, or CDN.
You know, I just love this analogy from the report because it is so perfect. If the origin is the heart, then the CDN is the massive network of arteries and veins that carries that content to literally every corner of the globe, making sure it gets where it needs to go fast.
So here's the magic trick of a CDN. It's a huge, globally distributed network of servers. And what it does is it makes copies, or caches, the most popular videos on servers that are physically close to you. So when you press play, you're not pulling that file from some central server halfway across the planet. Now, you're getting it from a server that could be in your own city. That's what makes streaming feel so instant and what makes it scalable.
But that brings up a really important question for anyone designing these systems. Is there just one way to use a CDN? A one-size-fits-all strategy? The answer, you probably guessed, is absolutely not. The right strategy completely depends on what kind of content you're trying to stream. And this table just lays out the differences so clearly. For your typical video on demand, like binging a show, a 10 or 30-second delay from real-time doesn't matter at all. That gives the system plenty of time to optimize for quality. But for a live sports game, you've got to be under 5 seconds or Twitter will spoil the result for you. And then for something like interactive cloud gaming, you need to be under a second. Each of these demands a totally different setup.
So to wrangle all this complexity, modern streaming platforms are built on a set of design principles we call cloud native. It's all about building systems that are incredibly flexible, that don't break easily, and that can be updated super fast.
The first big idea here is microservices. So instead of building one giant, monolithic application that does everything, you break it down into dozens of tiny, independent services that just talk to each other. This is huge because it means you can update the recommendation engine without ever touching the video player. You can scale one part without scaling another. And if one little service fails, it doesn't bring the whole ship down with it.
And those little microservices usually live inside what we call containers. Think of a container as the perfect little standardized box that holds the application and everything it needs to run. This is insanely powerful for jobs like video encoding. A huge live event starts, you can instantly spin up thousands of containers to handle the traffic, and then poof, spin them all down the second it's over. You only pay for exactly what you use.
And the last piece of this cloud-native puzzle is serverless computing. This is perfect for all the little intermittent jobs that need to happen. For instance, every time a new video gets uploaded, a serverless function can just wake up, generate the thumbnails for it, and go back to sleep. You don't have to manage any servers, you just write the code. It is incredibly cost-efficient for these kinds of tasks.
Okay, so we've looked at the mind-boggling scale, the core components, like the origin and the CDN, and these modern architectural patterns. What's the bottom line? What are the big principles we should all take away from this?
Well, the report really boils it down to a few key truths. First, remember that streaming isn't one thing. It's this delicate dance between a bunch of different systems. And because of that, there's no silver bullet or best solution. Everything is a trade-off you make based on your specific goal. You also have to monitor everything all the time because you can't fix what you can't see. But ultimately, it's all about finding that perfect balance between performance, security, and the only thing that really matters, a fantastic user experience.
And that really leaves us with the single biggest strategic question that the entire industry is grappling with. Users are always going to demand better quality. 4K, 8K, HDR, whatever comes next. But delivering that quality to a global audience is massively expensive. So the real challenge, the one that's going to define the future of streaming, is how do we keep pushing the boundaries of user experience without letting the costs of scale spiral out of control?
And there you have it. That's our technical tour of how modern streaming services really work under the hood. This entire explainer was based on the amazing in-depth report from Virtualization Options LLC. I really hope you found this useful. Thanks so much for tuning in.